call our meeting to order. Reverend Fillers, if you would. Listen, pray, you know.
Our Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you so much for this day. We thank you for this community, Lord. We just ask you to bless it, bless this meeting, be with us around it, guide and direct us, Lord. Lord, we give you the honor and the glory. We praise your name. Amen.
Amen. Well, honor and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, we have a quorum, as I see. So who's going to call the roll?
I can do it.
You, I appreciate it.
Lynn?
Here.
Tom?
Here.
Vonda? Here. James?
Here.
Judy is out, I believe. She's
They're on their way. They don't know if they'll make it or not on time, but they're on their way.
okay. Bonnie? Here. Terry's out sick. Chris? Tommy?
Here.
Wayne?
Here.
Charlie?
Here.
Mickey? Here. Vicky's here. Hilda's out. Mike is out. Lori? Here. And Kim is out of town. And Dusty's not here.
Okay. So we need a motion to approve excused members.
Motion to approve excused members.
Motion by Charlie, second by Tommy. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Did you add me?
Passes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I had you. Well, you were the Terry that I missed. Sorry. I wonder why I had Terry on here twice.
I knew there was a
Terry, are you
Terry out
here?
sick. I'm here,
Okay, thank you.
present and accounted for.
Okay, board members, you have a copy of the agenda. It's time to look over the agenda. And a motion would be in order.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Charlie.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Tommy, any discussion on the agenda? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll move on to the minutes. Hilda's not here. So, all board members have copies of the minutes. Is that correct? In the packet? You'll review those for a couple of minutes. And a motion would be in order. Motion.
I got a correction?
Okay, let's get a second then. We have a second.
Second.
We have a second by Tommy, okay? You have a question?
Oh, yeah, I want a correction.
Okay.
A correction. It listed me as code committee, so I don't want anybody to get any types of wrong ideas about that. So I wanted to replace the wording code committee with short-term rentals and key access committee.
Co-committee,
I don't know.
Code, that's code, like code enforcement,
COD.
which is
Last page,
kind of the same thing.
yeah.
Yes,
last
exactly the
page.
same thing.
it's not co-committee, it's chairman of
Like code enforcement.
Yeah, I don't want anybody getting wrong idea thinking I'm code enforcement.
No, because there's some places in here that
yeah,
are.
we're good.
They
Okay.
were
Thank you.
bought before this 1990 thing was ever.
Okay, so,
I don't like the wording, because I'm like,
There's gonna be a problem.
I don't think that we stated it that way.
Swanee County also is not involved.
Hey,
in Housing.
Leanne, we'll discuss that later. Thank you. Okay? So
Get it right.
what did we discuss this committee to be named, if I'm not mistaken?
well, I don't believe
think
it
it had
has
a
a name, but the word code enforcement was, the last meeting, I was hoping that was, not the right words to use, but then I saw in the minutes, it says code committee,
Sure.
headed by Bonnie Blackwell with several members, including the chairman.
Tommy, you have a,
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I don't think it was ever intended to be code enforcement, but what I think we tried to include in there was that it would be there to make recommendations as to code enforcement. In other words, if we need to consider passing something on to the county, then this committee could act as.
they can present it to the board.
That's correct, yes.
Just to do this.
And what I was under the impression was I was just gonna be doing a committee about the short-term rental issues with the renting out the heat.
We were
Still
hoping,
bringing up in the meetings.
you're gonna have to Thank you.
Then you do bring it up at the meeting.
That's what we're doing right now. We'll handle it. We'll handle it. Thank
So
you.
I don't know what code committee is, but I've just agreed to be on the committee.
Yeah,
about
yes,
this.
James, you have a thought?
Well, can we basically look at it as far as recommendations for failure to comply with the, we all get the,
Well, there's no failure to comply right now. It's basically, we haven't made any rules or anything
Short-term
about
slash-
short-term rentals and Airbnb, people who lease and rent out.
Access.
For a
what it is.
room and all. of-
It's against our bylaws.
Right, it is, but there's nothing really in there that has anything to do with short-term rentals.
But
except
giving
for-
keys to the ranchettes.
Yeah, well, we don't do that. So,
Dan,
we're gonna start with the correction of the minutes right now before we
please
do
understand, I have a board.
so.
There, thank you.
You guys need that, right?
But I just wanted
That's what
to,
we're doing.
I wanted to ask that, this is easy. I just want to reword code committee to short-term rentals, short-term rental committee, because that's where I'm starting.
Okay,
So.
Short-term rental key
short-term rental
access.
committee, just, it's easy to replace.
short-term rental key access,
Key access.
membership access,
Yes.
okay. That sounds very reasonable. We are making those notations.
Yes.
Okay. So, motion was made by Wayne, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
right? You-
Second by Tommy.
Second by Tommy. Are y'all agree with that?
Yes, I think we should amend it to go with the changes.
Oh, you agree? I agree. Okay. All right,
And we're gonna word it as short-term rental and key committee.
Sure.
Okay.
Access committee, that's fine.
so we have any further questions on the motion? And the amendment? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, it passes. It's really not a motion, it's, we're just a correction, so. All right. Okay, so, so what we need to do now is have a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second. Motion by Vonda, second by Charlie. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Do we have a secretary's report? Other than that she's provided the minutes? And let Vicky do the roll call? Okay. All right. Do we have a treasurer's report, Vicky?
Yes, we do. Okay, as of January 31st, our Seacoast checking account has $55,882.97. Our reserve savings account is $503.60. Our CD account is $51,816.56. The membership account where people are going online and paying for their membership online is $87,950.12 for a total of $196,153.25. On the back side is just our January P&L. I wanted to only bring to your attention some things that were paid that were kind of out of the norm. We did pay our insurance, fire and casualty, which was $1,674. Our liability insurance was $2,454. We paid legal fees of $1,284. 144 of that was just our general amount that we owed the attorney for asking questions and looking at emails. The rest of that bill was $1,140 for the litigation with Jesse Crane and his attorney. Let's see. Further down under membership expenses, those expenses that you see there are mainly for printing of the invoice was $1,208. So that's kind of out of the norm. It's not something we pay monthly. And that's all I have. Anybody have any questions on the?
Any board members have any questions?
I was gonna ask about the keys. Did they go out in the mail?
Wednesday. We'll get to that.
Okay.
You're going to report on that, aren't you? Vonda, shortly.
I would like to bring up something under the treasurer.
Yeah.
I was talking to Vicky, when we allocate some funds for some project, say this electrical that we just did, we sometimes we do it one time and then we add to it and then we add to it. And, it's a little bit hard for me as, doing the work, or Vicky doing the bookkeeping, to keep track. And so kind of open for suggestions on what to do. We thought it'd be nice to maybe in the minutes, if we had something that would keep us abreast of what's going on. And when we get that thing totally paid off, we can zero it out or.
I think basically what you had was a change order, a couple of change orders on that, is that right?
Yeah.
And we did approve those change orders.
Yeah, but it's kind of lost.
I think
All
he's
in a
talking
minute.
about flagging it. It's difficult to flag it so that 6 months from now, we'll remember what we approved in a meeting 6 months prior. So I had asked Hilda to highlight
Okay,
or underline or bold print in the minutes
right.
when monies was approved, so I could pick it out easily. I'll go back through the minutes for last year and try to pick out everything that we approved for money wise, because it does get confusing, because sometimes we run short and we add more and.
See, we're fixing to get into another project.
Right.
It's this building.
Right,
And it's gonna be a lot of piecemeal,
right.
a lot of piecemeal.
Yeah, because you're gonna do a little at a time.
And so,
Mhm.
We'll talk about this building then at later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about how we can deal with that, okay?
And the other thing is, we needed it in the budget to change. Was it the work that was done on the Swanee side? Because we only had like maintenance and something, and I think we
We decided to put it under renovations because of the way we changed the money for the 25 budget. There was no money, not enough money left in, regular maintenance, so we're gonna move it under renovations.
and I think it would fit better under renovations versus maintenance. So
And there's one that for last month, I think, when I wasn't doing it, when I wasn't here, and Carol booked it a different way, so I need to pull those out for our next meeting and give it to you and see if it's put to the right budget. Gets a little complicated when we move money around, but we'll figure it out.
I wonder if on this sheet, there could be a line item and just say, for example, electrical, and it might be $1,000 this month, but we might approve $500 extra to go with it.
As a change order, because it's because they discovered something that had to be done.
This though comes directly from QuickBooks
Yeah,
on what
it
we've
does.
written checks for. So
Okay.
what I think I need to do is just do a spreadsheet on what's approved.
Yeah.
And then as we use that up, I'll know when we get to zero and we have to ask for more money or whatever. So
That's
I'll
most reasonable.
Yeah, I'll work on that.
Okay. All right. Any more questions of the treasurer's report? Need a motion to approve treasurer's report?
motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Second.
Motion by Von, second by Tommy. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed? Passes. Move on to the president's report. Do we have anything from Terry? If she doesn't, she's been, sick for about 3 or 4 weeks, maybe longer.
Well, I think she went from the flu to strep throat.
Now she's got strep. Their kids just went back to school today, so they've been out all this time.
Wow. Okay. All right, we'll move on to the park manager's report. Bill said he didn't have a whole lot to report. When he gets here, if he does, we'll let him say a few words. Very few though, right, Tommy?
That's right.
Short, sweet.
All right, we'll move on to the maintenance committee. Tommy, you have anything else to report on the power at Swanee?
The electrician showed up today as scheduled and, changed out the electrical panel and whatnot and got it approved by the building department, Swanee County. And, so we're waiting on Swanee Valley Electric now just to turn it on.
Okay.
This should be good to go.
I went over and looked at it and the inspectors inspected it, so that's good.
Yeah.
It's a very good job. I mean, it's a very good job.
Yeah.
It looks like we still have one little piece to fix up on the roof where the weatherhead went through before. So, I think you've already got a fix for that though, is that right?
Yeah, and I got a very good suggestion, I think.
Okay,
Get somebody to do it.
okay, we'll get that done.
So y'all were able to use the same structure? Didn't have to build a new
No,
structure?
when they did the survey has it about, maybe a little bit over head high. And so it actually, met all the requirements. So it's a long ordeal to get it through, but Swanee County's, you're not gonna pass go if you don't go through them. And it doesn't get approved by it doesn't meet this management district's, elevation, so. But we've got the survey certified, and, we'll get that filed and.
And that boundary survey got done too, so we know where the fence is? Didn't
Yeah,
they
the
go
boundary
on
survey's
the-
done, and, a
Yeah.
little bit of a mess over there with that. But they've got some iron, stakes in the ground, so we'll address that at another date. There's nothing really pressing us with the, boundaries over there, but we need to know about it as we go forward in the future. I mean, it's not pressing any neighbors, and, neighbors aren't really, we're not pressing neighbors and not pressing us on it right now. But we do need to know. You have a thought, Tommy?
Yeah, well, since we're still on the, maintenance committee, we're fixing to take on another project. We're sitting in it, this room. And, did we allocate any money for this yet?
Vicky, we carried over some funds for this building, did we not?
Well, we had carryover, but I think what we had planned on doing was using the money that was in the CD account. But I think that there's new rules that we have to have money put aside now, right?
Well, this is gonna be, we're not gonna,
Yeah.
we're gonna do this in phases.
Right.
So we're not gonna hire a major contractor to envelop the whole job. We're gonna
Right.
do it in pieces with working with a flooring person, a drywall
Exactly.
person, electrician. Again, we'll be back with an electrician again, for another part of the project. So, some of it, we're under certain dollars amount, we won't have to pull a permit. Is that right, Tommy?
Yeah.
So
Well, we had changed the budget.
we're not structurally gonna affect the building, based on what the, building department requires. And it'd save us an awful lot of money in the end game, right?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Budget.
Hey, Bill. Hey, Judy.
So what we did is we made a new category for building renovations and major repairs,
Right,
capital.
right.
And the 24 budget was 24,000 and we raised that to 40,000.
Okay.
So that's where we allocated the money.
We have a budget of 20,000.
Yes and no, because we're gonna do bit by bit. So yeah,
And that's for the whole year. Any renovations that we want to do
Not just
anywhere,
this.
not just the clubhouse. If there's something that needs to be done with the A-frame or the park,
Right.
it's gonna be
All right.
separate.
Okay, all board members good with that? Tommy, you good with that?
We'll work out the details on how to
Okay, all right.
pay the help.
Okay, so let's move on then to, Bill, we passed over the park manager's report, but Tommy Trammell did it for you.
Yeah, there it is.
it wasn't quick. It was speed.
Really quick,
Do you have anything to add?
yeah, I just wanted to ask the board to think about, campers in Cannon Park. We had an issue this month with somebody, camping for probably a week in that area, because I was away. And we got there and Glenn was with me, this person, just like he'd been there, I mean. He didn't have.
Please, Van. Okay.
He didn't have a key. He didn't know the person's name. He wasn't there. The two times I went there and saw his stuff, and I called the sheriff. Sheriff came out and said we can haul it off, so we did. We hauled it over to behind our storage shed. There was a lot of junk. It was a trailer full. And he got upset about the fact that we took his stuff. Didn't take it. We put it over here out of the park. And he got it all back. But I didn't have a name, I didn't have a key number, I didn't know who was there. And, the gate was being left open, I'd lock it and he didn't have a key. So people were either leaving the gate open and letting, keep making it so he could get in and out. So that's, I'd like to see if we could talk about people signing up to use the park for maybe no more than 3 days, a long weekend or something like that.
Well, didn't we say that in the
think we
past, that they
did.
had to go through you and
They
then
had to go on
notify
the
the
already-
board? Yeah.
He's already got it set up in the.
Well, that was an issue, and they blamed us on it, or he blamed us on it. But you see him riding around here. He's on an electric bike. He's pulling a little trailer with junk all in it, like he's going around picking stuff up, I guess. Wasn't a very nice person to deal with, but you know, that's one thing we have to do.
He pretty much set up residence there, so
He did.
we went through the proper channels with law enforcement. He did not contact anyone, and you still don't know, he's not really a member, he's not a member anyway.
Name
So-
Steve Ray?
No, ma'am,
Okay.
please.
How did he get,
So-
he get his camper in there?
He didn't have a
Like a
camper, he had a
camper.
tent, and he had
Bicycle.
everything under the sun associated with him, so.
Jump the thing like everybody else does.
So, At the end of the day, and that's a tremendous liability to us, because you already had incidents there before.
With non-members.
Right, so anyway, I think you handled that very well, Bill.
Members are calling me about dogs in the parks again, so if y'all are out and about, I can't be at every park whenever there's a dog there, but if you see one, maybe you could talk to them or see somebody so we can try to quell it at the beginning of the year. The gates are starting to be left open again as it's getting busier. Maybe you can talk to members and we can quell that too. We've had a washout at Midpoint that's been taken care of. We've got a washout down here in Hoder Park. That's gonna be a discussion between us and see how we're gonna handle that. And, besides that, it's been fairly quiet. You know, it's starting to pick up though, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions of Bill? Okay, we'll move on then to communications, committee's report, Vonda.
Today, yes, okay, we start with our membership. So these are ones that have been processed, so we'll have more because Terry's in the middle now of doing some others. But Columbia County side, we have 276 members, Suwannee County's 93, and the total is 369 members that are still coming in. The keys, up until I guess I'm not sure what else she has had in there because I know Judy and Mickey jumped in and did everything they could to try. Terry got sick, I guess, from Key Day, and she has been down. People are still coming to her house picking up keys, and Priscilla, somebody will go down and let them sign for their key. There have been some really ugly members. Today she got the brunt of another one, and because Terry also still answers our phone, even though she's sick, she's still answering the Trepo phone. So she really hasn't had a break. So anyway, so I got sick too. So right after that, then my daughter was sick. It ran through our house too. So we were down. So I couldn't come down here. And it's not like someone could just go grab the stuff and take it home and do it because after Key Day, we had, checks, cash, we had keys that still needed to be filed, everything that still needed to be followed up with. So that's where Judy and Nikki jumped in because but Terry still had to kind of guide them because there's certain ways we do it to account for the keys, to verify the member, to verify the pay and everything.
Right, I know y'all are very thorough.
So, anyway, so keys did not get out. I was still sick. And then Tuesday, I guess it was, last Tuesday. So I called them and they were still working on keys and I asked them how fast they could have what they had done. So I got there I only did like 15 minutes of whatever. I grabbed the keys and I just put a thing out there. I'd be here from like 3 to 6.
What day was that?
Last Tuesday. And I was going to go around delivering keys, whatever it took to get the keys out. So I did that. I got a good amount of people did come and get their keys. And then I came back out The next day, I left the keys here because I don't dare take the keys out of this area. So I left them here locked up, and I came and got them and took them to Branford, and mailed them from Branford because Fort White was wanting to charge like $5 something a envelope, and there we did non-machinable, and it was like $1.50 something an envelope. So,
So Key Day was on the 25th, right?
Yes.
yes.
And so you grabbed everything up and had it done by the 11th, so that's.
So they went out, Wednesday, and then I sent a couple messages out to people that I know in different areas. So, I sent a message on Friday to someone in Lake City and said, hey, let me know when you get your key. Oh, we got it today. And then Thelma Richardson, she lives down in Tampa, Sarasota, somewhere down that way.
Right.
She got hers on Saturday. So there's one man that called her again today, badgering her. And I understand, but I don't. We put it out there a couple times. He could have contacted Terry to get his key. I think he's in Lake City also. So he's saying he didn't have his key, but considering they went out on, I left when the post office closed at 4:00, and then people in Lake City were getting on Friday and then out of town on Saturday. It's still only been 3 business days because yesterday was a holiday. So considering that, but people should be checking your mailboxes for keys. So this brings me to a couple other things. One is doing it different next year. And I just want your feedback on this. So next year, I think it's the 10th, the second Saturday in January is the 10th. Why don't we have our regular key day on the 10th? People will come get their keys, whatever. And then the locks will not be changed until the 31st, which is the last Saturday of the month. We'll also have a quick key day, maybe 2 hours that day. So if they haven't paid on the original, then they can pay that day. Locks get changed, and then it just go business as usual. My other suggestion is not mailing keys, especially in, if you live in Columbia County or Suwannee County, that they should be picked up. Because by the time, if they go missing, we're not replacing them. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, if you're gonna use the gate, you're gonna be here. Carrie is very accommodating on, and we would set up different times. Because she holds a lot of keys for people that don't live here. She'll just hang on to them until they come down next time. They'll run by, grab the key, and she's very accommodating. So
mailing no keys, you're saying, or just the ones that are?
well, this is where we need discussion. They're not mailing the keys or mailing them to outside the
So we probably need to
perimeter.
have a major, more discussion.
Right.
Meeting.
Donna, how hard is it, because all this seems to happen like right after Christmas and in flu season too. Has it ever been done where keys are changed, say like in March? Where it's away from the
It's
holidays, away from flu season?
It's never, we haven't had this issue.
It doesn't mean, I can imagine trying to do all these keys like right during Christmas time.
Well, the other thing though is spring break comes and everybody wants keys to go start utilizing the
Because
parks
we
in
can always
March.
push it until February, so it's not right during Christmas, is that kind of?
But it's also easier to run their year January 1 to December 31st, because when we're dealing like with these estoppels and all, it just,
Okay.
it's,
I think that's the best time to
And
keep it.
then the other suggestion I have is just don't change the locks until after all the keys have been postmarked or put in the mail. Whatever day that is.
we've got people paying through July.
Okay, this is the board. What do you got, James?
I was wondering if we were to have them pick it up either on key day or to make arrangements, according to whoever has the keys, scheduled. But if they want a mail, to have them paid or certified. And there would be a fee. It will be mailed certified, or somebody has to sign for it.
I'm gonna suggest this thing is wide indeed, so.
But we need
I would
this
suggest
is
that
where
we-
for the board members to think about it,
Yeah, this would be good to think about. If you've got a good plan or solution, we'll book this.
Bring it to next month.
Next month. That's probably a good idea. We can do it next month. Okay.
We
Jesse,
will give us time to think on it.
I was just gonna, really more than a comment. The reason the post office won't do it machinable is because that's how we lose keys, and that's why a lot of keys have gotten lost in the past. And it's actually against the law to go to one post office and have them tell you can't do something because it's not a machinable product, and go to another post office to have them sent out.
I think you're not understanding. We sent them out non-machinable. we have a stamp that says non-machinable.
Highlighted.
Well, why are they trying to charge you more money?
Because he said it's considered a package.
Right, not, yeah, parcels, the postage is all envelope papers and nothing else. The parcel, it can't be anything.
But I could have sent him from Jacksonville, I sent him from there. This guy, he's not the normal, the regular guy. And, yeah.
Because I was told that, even by the postmaster, forced me to get those other envelopes, and we did it because they said they've been saying for years.
But these
You guys are sending them the envelopes are.
went out fast.
Actually posted when you can't do that because that's why there's postage.
Okay, we're gonna move on and have a discussion, on this. We'll book this for the next board meeting.
I have one
Okay.
question about.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree with like everything what she said, except if you get the keys on the 10th, the new keys, and then wait till the 31st, say, to change law. What about the new members? Their new key won't fit, so they got no use of the park till the 31st. That's just what I'm saying here.
I don't understand why they wouldn't have access.
If their new key won't fit in the old locks, and
And
if
they'll have
they
an old
don't
key
have
if they're new.
last year's key, what are they out of luck until the 31st?
We have loaner keys, we have to deal with
Okay,
things
that's what
like
I'm
that.
saying. Okay, you just, so that they would get a loaner key.
We do have, there are a few exceptions
Okay,
where we have to
we
do that.
in the thing.
And then we get the loaner key back once we have their keys ready to go.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so we're gonna set up a discussion at our next board meeting, be thinking about it, a lot of possibilities. So what we'll do, anything else?
Yeah, yes, so that was the one, the mailing the keys, doing the 2 different key days. The fish fry, I have it on the calendar, I think it was March 29th, like the last Saturday of March.
Wow, it's already here.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that's, cause then we're going right
It'll be a
now,
cold day on the 29th of March.
yes.
How do you know that?
I just do.
So we can do that,
Grandpa
we
told
go
me.
to April, but then we got Easter in April. So anyway, yeah, that is early though, it is. So that's why I'm putting it out there, that's what we had, but this is a cooler, year.
Okay.
Should we continue with that? Do we change it?
The ticket price.
Does it have that specific date set?
We had discussed it I think it was last year, we had discussed
Made it-
the following.
Okay.
So no, it's movable, that's why I'm throwing it out here. What do you guys, Easter's on the 20th of April. Anybody have any,
And we always had a conflict with the Catfish Festival in Brantford.
that's why we moved it, that's
So
why
we
we
moved
moved it.
So do we know what the date on that is?
It's either the week before or after.
Because we don't want to.
It's usually the first weekend in April, isn't it?
I think you're right, because this is the last one
I
in
think it was the
March.
first weekend in April, so we moved ours to the second weekend in April to not have the conflict there. But you said, but Easter this year is on the 20th of April, so there's no conflict with Easter. I think we should do it in April. It'll be warmer and March has so many spring breakers, families
Yes.
taking vacations.
That's true.
I think we need to do it in April.
So we want to set it tonight to have enough time, or is next meeting enough time to set it?
We've got enough time next meeting.
If we're gonna do the
If
April.
we're gonna
yes,
do
we
April,
Okay, we'll do April and we'll discuss it then at the next meeting, all the details of it, right?
yes.
Okay. What?
That's,
We'll do it at the next
That's
meeting.
talking about the Brantford Festival.
Yeah.
do you have it?
It says it's on Friday, June 13th to Sunday, June 15th.
The fish fry?
In Brandon
Catfish Festival?
for 25?
One of the, is that the same one that was in April last year?
I don't know.
Cause I know there's one down in, down south of Plymouth,
Yes, in Brantford.
Catfish. Oh. Say 25?
Maybe they moved theirs from last year.
We can,
We had.
We can ask
This is
Bill,
what
we
it
can
says.
ask Bill Martin because he and Lynn are a big part of that.
Yeah.
April 12th. Okay. Yep.
What says it's in June?
Yeah, he's showing April 12th
That doesn't say Catfish Festival, though. This says
Catfish.
Artesian Marketplace down here.
The Swanee River Catfish Festival, Brantford, honoring our veterans since 2015. The April 12th, 2025.
April 12th.
April 12th.
Okay, so we want to do April 5th? Or-
So we should either do it the 5th or the 19th.
19th is the Saturday.
And that's Easter weekend.
Yeah,
The
I know, the
19th is
5th,
Easter
yeah.
weekend.
Or do we
So
just
we
do the
need to do it on
25th?
April 5th.
Board members, y'all good with that?
Sure.
I'm good with
Makes
it.
good sense, really. Okay. April 5th.
Did you have the ticket prices? We're gonna keep it the same or we
I
change?
think it was like $9 and $4.
I think it was $9, the same as last year, $9 adults, $4 for kids.
Is that gonna be a
Double
business meeting?
Or double the price so we can help.
Just a social meeting. No, yeah, just fun.
You're fired.
Okay, so we're, anything else, Vonda?
I think I'm done.
Okay, so we'll move on now to new business. We discussed the Trepo renovations or the, what do we call it? Cosmetic, changes to the building
Basements.
here. So, Bonnie Blackwell wanted to address the board on the, 120 bill.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Bonnie, and she's got a few points that she wanted to bring out.
so I emailed everybody a copy. I was just made aware of it because I was trying to figure out what I needed to study for a big test coming up. And, so there's a lot of things that we need to be doing. The way I wrote out my letter here, the old business and new business, it's kind of all blended together. We need to be, we need a computer, we need to be scanning a lot of things in digitally. Our Trepo website, needs to have a lot of things on there, where the members can actually access official records from Trepo. The new House bill says, and this is where Charlie's probably gonna hate his job now, because it says that each parcel member has to have a username and password. And so that it's not, our Trepo site isn't accessible to the general public anymore. That each parcel member will actually be a member on these sites with their own numbers and passwords, where they can see all the information that we need to be scanning in and putting online.
That's actually in the document that was approved. So
So-
let Charlie address that, or what's involved in that, Charlie?
Well, there's actually quite a bit involved in that, but, it just so happens that I'm in the process of redoing a lot of stuff on the website anyway.
Let's talk about it.
We'll be moving it to a different server and a couple other things that I'm working on in the background. So, and with that, the whole site will not be private. Obviously, you gotta have some information available to the public, so, but there is, with the new changes that are coming out, there will be options for you to be able to subscribe to certain things anyway. But that's, so I'm not speaking over anybody's head or anything. It's a bunch of technical stuff that I'm taking care of in the background, put it that way.
Okay, so, Bonnie, going forward, we're gonna start, I think you agreed to start working with the scanning. And do we have the scanner?
We got the scanner, it's here,
Okay.
it's in the, thing.
Okay, and what do we need, a laptop?
Laptop and Adobe.
Well, I was gonna suggest that we actually get a desktop computer.
Okay,
That actually, I mean, if we're gonna be doing renovations to the clubhouse, it should have a nice computer with storage in it and permanently stays attached to the scanner.
okay,
So that you can, I mean, I'll start scanning information and all paperwork, everything that comes through, every bid, every check, every invoice, every receipt, everything will be put in different little files, and I can scan stuff in and it can just stay connected to the scanner. And then we can get some of that stuff without people's personal information, because that's different in the House bill. Can't have that online.
right.
But, all of those things need to be put to where everybody in the membership can see what's being spent, what's been bid on, you know, and so and I think it would help with the transparency between, well, it's law too, but it would help.
Can we, as we're moving forward, Bonnie, can we get an outline so that we can focus on those things? There's a lot of things.
Mhm.
There's a lot of different information. It's got to be in different places in different ways, or some kind of an outline that we could start putting together to look at that, because things got to get knocked out, and we don't want things.
So
running over.
I wrote, I'm just gonna take it out of order on things I wrote. Put a computer, you definitely need a permanent desktop computer at the clubhouse with Word and Adobe applications. It'd be best to have 2 monitors, because when you use Adobe, when you're scanning files in, you need to use Adobe Pro to be able to extract the files and move them over, so it'd be nice to have 2 monitors, a tower, you need the cables to connect the monitors, a hard drive.
We have the
If
room.
you want to keep the hard drive in a firebox.
Room.
I can make room depending, but I've got a few follow-up questions on it. But just out of curiosity, don't care either way. Why would you choose a desktop over a laptop?
I mean, I just figured I had more storage.
No. Actually, this laptop
I'm not a computer person, so.
that's why I asked, because I am, so I'm
But
trying
it would
to,
be nice to have 2 monitors to move.
it would, that's why I'm trying to understand the end result. That's all I'm trying to understand, so that I can recommend the right technology for the job.
2
It's
monitors.
not necessarily power. This laptop that I'm sitting behind right now is about a $3,000 laptop, and it's more powerful than most servers that I work on. So, desktops don't necessarily have more power, but I'm just trying to understand the end result so that I can make sure we get the right hardware.
The main things whenever you're trying to extract files out of Adobe and you're trying to move them into other files, it's hard to see when the pages overlap each other on one screen.
2 monitors, yes, obviously.
It's really your external hard drive is your storage.
Right, and yes, so for something like this, you would want external hard drives for storage. You wouldn't want necessarily to put that on the computer, just on the computer itself.
But yeah, you have a backup, so at least a backup, and while you're working on it, because this is gonna take months and months and months to build this filing system. So while you're, I mean, that's a lot, we got.
But it's gonna go straight into an external hard drive, not really on the computer.
Right, but whenever you get handed all of, say, January's paperwork, or you get all of 2024's paperwork, and you're scanning it all in, it's gonna take days and days and days to scan in every bid, every invoice, every check, every receipt.
I'll tell you what, come up with what you want the end result to be as far as,
A digital.
Oh, it's every check, is something
Yeah.
okay, if that's the end result, just a digital filing system, then I'll put something together.
Yeah.
I'll put something together, I'll put a recommendation for
I know.
hardware and software together, and, I'll get that presented for you.
Okay.
Can we do that, in the next week or so?
Sure, I'll put it together tomorrow, probably.
Oh, that'd be great if we could do that, so
Alright.
we could do that, yes, Vicky.
And, we don't receive our checks from the bank, but every check is on the bank statement.
Yeah, whatever you
So
all
if you
have.
scan the bank statement, you get a copy of the checks as well. And I would recommend that we go back and when you get ready to start this, that we go with January. So we know that January 1, we started the new filing system, so.
Right, I would start, me personally, I would start with, well, it's February now, but I would start with the most recent month and then move backwards. And eventually get back to 7 years, because that's how far back you have to have it, I guess, digitalized. So I would start with the most
I
recent
don't think
month.
they would require you to be digital on day 1, back 7 years. If we start digital
But I can move,
January
but I
1
can move back.
and have our paper copies for 7 years, that would suffice an audit.
I think so too. I don't know that we want to go to that much.
But that's-
That'd be an awful lot of,
No.
that'd be an awful lot, probably monumental, I would think,
Yeah.
to do. But it's gonna, what's gonna happen, it's gonna be eclipsing itself too, so it's gonna be going away. After 7 years, of course.
I'll also require a list of who else is gonna have access to this computer. Because, I work in IT, I don't do blanket logins. Make sure everybody has an individual login, so they're accountable for their actions.
Well, it'd have to be for whoever comes in the clubhouse and uses the scanner, so we have to be a scanning committee, I guess.
Well, each person in that committee would have their own login. It wouldn't be like a username Tripo or
Right,
something.
right,
That wouldn't
right.
work.
Yeah.
Each person would have to have their own login, so I'll need a list of names as to who's gonna be on that committee and who all is going to have access to the system.
Would it be reasonable to go back 1 year, take 24 and scan 24 in?
I think so. I mean, I think the further back the better, but I mean. at
Maybe
least
just
if
do the
it's
way we're
hard.
gonna do. I mean,
Long,
it is, okay.
a lot of
I've got a
paper.
question.
Okay, let's see how we're gonna go forward then.
Right,
Let's,
right. If we catch up, go.
we go forward, let's see how that works. If that's good, then so, but if not.
Well, and it's a perfect way to work the bugs out is when you're doing the current month and the next
Right.
month and get it all synchronized the way you want it. And then if you have extra time.
Yes, ma'am, that does exactly.
So can we go ahead then, tomorrow, then you said you think you could put together a
I
package?
can put together everything you need for hardware and software tomorrow. That shouldn't be an issue. I'll still need the list of names that's gonna be able to access it and a couple of other things, but I can follow up with her on via email or something on that.
Okay, all right.
So,
And it's gonna take more money than,
Oh, yeah.
it's gonna take more money than we'd allotted to.
it looks like to me, for what we're
No,
trying
no,
to do.
no, I'm just saying,
What we allotted.
it was like $1,000 and the scan was like something.
Really?
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Yeah, that's not gonna cut it.
No, I don't think so either. So do we need to approve a certain amount, up to a certain amount? Because this is gonna be critical. This is the nuts and bolts of everything anyway.
Well, let me put something together. I'll give you a quote on everything, see what it comes out to be, if you like.
Yeah.
And let's, rough guesstimate, somewhere around $2,000.
So that's about 500 more than what we had, didn't we come up about?
We have 500, I spent, it was like 500 on the scanner, so we were allotted 1,000.
Okay.
So
Is it
we have
scanner or
500.
or is it?
It's
it
a fax scanner.
Okay.
But it's gonna save money, because when people ask for records, we'll pay, it's gonna save
Oh,
money.
oh,
So
yeah.
people
No, no,
ask for
don't
records,
No,
disagree.
it's gotta be done.
Yeah, we don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, it's gonna be a time saver and money saver.
Mr. Chairman, you said, it's gonna be 2,000, around 2,000.
I'm just spitballing here. It's a rough guesstimate. I purchased a pretty nice computer for the county yesterday with 2 monitors, and that was $1,776.23. So,
So if we wanted to do as we have in the past, where we approve more up to a certain amount, so that you don't have to keep coming back to the board, we don't have to wait, what would be, and if so, if we approve, say, let's 3,000, would we have the money to do that?
yes. If you give me 3,000, you're gonna have change back for sure. So you want to do up to
So-
3,000?
Mr. Chairman, my motion would be that we,
We'll have to shop that and get some estimates too, so.
Sure.
But you can recommend what we.
I can, and I order a lot of hardware, so it gives me a certain amount of buying power that I can utilize. So we're not gonna be paying consumer prices anyway.
You don't get much for consumer prices, because I don't price you.
and then my motion, Mr. Chairman, would be that we approve up to $3,000 for Charles Hughes on the
Second.
computer
Okay,
systems.
y'all heard the motion was to approve up to $3,000.
Got it.
All within the guidelines of what was proposed. And we have a second. Tommy, you seconded that?
Yes.
And James, you have a question?
Do we add that to what we already approved, or we just, didn't we approve 1,000?
We approved 1,000, I got the scanner, but we still gotta get the Adobe program and Word, what am I supposed to need?
So-
So an additional 2,000 to the original 1,000?
He's buying on a different,
This is.
I have 500
This-
left for my.
They probably
This is
won't use
complete,
that.
this is only for that. We don't need anything more from the original, right?
Well, from that, we still gotta get the
The
the,
software.
the-
But she has 500 to work for that. So
Okay.
this is in addition to that, but they probably won't use that 3,000.
yeah, it's not saying we're gonna use, he would use all that, but.
So once we get a chance to look at the specs on what we need,
Mhm.
then we can address that at the meeting. But we're gonna go ahead and have a dollar amount to go up to. And
That
then we're
way
gonna do this very quickly so that we can get it in place. Now,
Right.
who's gonna go ahead and work with getting the order together? Bonnie's gonna be part of that group. Vonda, okay. And Vicky, I know you're always in the background, right? For sure.
Gee,
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Yeah, you have a question,
I'm just
just,
curious if you guys ever took the one member up that said they were gonna donate several.
she could not locate it, she couldn't get to it, we did, Bonnie, you
Yeah, I
were
contacted her and everybody kind of felt.
okay.
that
so
would've been great.
We have a motion and a second. Any more questions? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, Bonnie, was there
Thank you, Charles.
anything else you wanted to?
I'll give it Charlie with some of the things that I think would be nice for the website, but I had some old business, so.
Okay.
I had a question on.
We'll let you come at the end, okay? Dan?
I set a date, are we on old business?
Yeah.
Okay, I set a date to, meet with the short-term rental committee regarding short-term rentals, Airbnbs, and the, inappropriate leasing and renting of the park key. Let's see, also, I will need to get the contact information for the attorney, just so I can at some point set up something and make sure.
Yeah, I
that
think I
Lynn
introduced
does
you,
that.
I introduced you to Peters, and I'll give you the information on the firm when.
That way, whenever we go to start having this negotiating committee, that we're actually talking about things that are actually legal and not
Absolutely.
doing things that second thing and then wasting our time. So I do need to get that information from you. The
You want to be careful how we use that time too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, I'll-
I will speed it up. It'll be
Every minute costs
very-
money.
No, I'd reckon, and that you need to come through the chair, we'll need to come through the chair when we do that, so we
Right,
can keep it.
yeah, I wouldn't
tight.
just go straight to him, I just. There was a AED that's been donated to, Tripo. It was donated, I believe, sometime last year, but, I just was able to procure it in my, possession. It's a automated external defibrillator. It's about $1,000 machine that's been kindly donated to Tripo. It's in complete working order. I have all the information from the company. There's also a lifetime 10% discount that goes along with battery replacements, pad replacements. Chocolate fill brim, we think that it would be best to be hung in between the bathrooms at Hodor Park, where there's, it can be watched with it can be under surveillance with the camera, it can be under surveillance of lights.
Is it locked?
Well, no, it's not
You're gonna
locked.
get-
It's
you have to
it's
order-
a compartment case and it's in a big hard, waterproof case and it goes into a mounting cabinet. You see them all over airports and Walmarts.
We have to buy the
Um,
cabinet.
Yeah, they just hang on the wall.
One thing would be to write up a protocol for, how that is supposed to be taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, not training, we can do training too, that'd be great, but still, protocol in essence of how it needs to be taken care of, how often the battery needs to be checked.
The AED donation letter, so I'll start from the top. I procured the donated AED, it's in my possession. I pre-wrote a donation letter requested by the donor to be typed out on Tripo letterhead, signed by Tripo and notarized for her taxes. She would do a write-off. That was emailed to President Terry Hester and Ms. Hilda. I'm just requesting they please print it, notarize it, sign the letter, and email it back to me so I can give it to the donor. Regarding the AED, we will need a mounting cabinet. I looked online and I found the 10% codes, all this. The mounting cabinets, $149. The adult replacement pads, for the defibrillator is $79. Pediatric pads are $115. There's a little $20 sign you can purchase. People know there's one available. And at $5 for 5 inspection tags and a replacement battery at $189. The battery recurring cost, you only replace the battery every 4 years at $189, and the pad replacements get replaced every 2 years. So with pediatric and adult added up to $194, plus you get 10% off all costs. I'd like to make a motion to approve a total of $487.75 to get all of the above, which includes the 10% discount of a $54.50 savings. This is a wonderful asset to our community and hopefully we will never need to use it. Here's Charlie again, sorry Charlie. I'd like you to upload an AED training video to the tripo.net website and Facebook site once it's in service. And Vicki, I think you do the biannual CPR courses at Hodor, right? Mm-hmm. You just okay. So that would be great if we could keep the CPR courses up at Hodor. There is a website that the machine is registered through. I'm a maintenance person on there now. I can put you as a secondary. And then monthly, I figured we'll do it on our meeting days. You go online and you just say that it's been inspected, the battery's green, the pads are in order, it's still all put together. So I will maintain the monthly AED inspections via the Philips Heart Smart website. And I can put Mr. Bill Brim down as a secondary inspector. It will be inspected and documented on the website monthly, and I will go over everything with Mr. Brim before it's in operation.
Let me ask you a question. So the machine is not locked.
No.
So let me just throw this out, and I'm not trying to be negative or whatever, but what happens if a child or kids decide they want to play with it and they pull it out and somebody gets
Well,
hurt?
they could do that at Walmart or.
I'm just, huh?
That's where I think it may,
I don't know the normal protocol for something like this.
It's basically, you have to go through 3 steps to use the shock button on it. And if they don't have the pads on and all that, I mean, they're in every public place. So it's not like, I mean,
They're gonna be in trouble.
right, they're in all public places. So
Yeah, I think Mr. Trammell has a question, so.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I'm just concerned about liability. And, I think if I could make a recommendation, I recommend that we pass this through the attorney to find out what our liability is, because in these situations, once you implement something, then you gotta do it right. If you fail to do it, or you fail to do it right, or you misuse it, or someone gets hurt as a result of it, you're liable. So while on one hand, it could save a life, on the other, it could cost us a lot of money if we fail in the procedure, the process, whatever it might be. So not saying we shouldn't, I'm just saying maybe.
I think it's a great thing to have
I think it'll be,
some
if it's
opportunity.
maintained monthly, and it's documented on a website, it's been maintained monthly, that absolves us of our responsibility. I mean, it is our responsibility to maintain it. It's in working order. If somebody goes and illegally breaks into it and tries to start shocking people with it, I mean, they can go in our parks and shoot people. So, I mean, it's, as long as it takes for fire rescue to respond, and that's even if the rescue's in the fire station at the time, with all the, the potentials of having a drowning, or even somebody who has a heart attack out here and needs CPR, somebody can run to Hoover and get the thing and defibrillate them while you're waiting 20 minutes for a rescue unit.
I'm not saying it's a bad idea, please don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that maybe it's something we should pass through the attorney and say, okay, do we have a liability? If so, how much liability and for what? And is there an accepted, which you say there is, an accepted procedure or policy? We don't even have a policy for this. So I'm just saying that I think that if you act on the advice of counsel, you drastically reduce your liability. So I would just suggest that take this information and let's talk with the attorney about it, and let's get the go-ahead from the attorney.
I'm trying to think from my standpoint. I know nothing about medicine other than I can cut myself real good, again. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't have a clue what to do. And I wouldn't.
It tells you what to do.
Okay, I'm just throwing this out because I've never
There's 3 buttons.
I've never even seen one of
When
them.
you and I'll tell you a short story. My father was 49 years old and we lived out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And he came home from work and he had a cardiac arrest. And it took the rescue unit 35 minutes to get to the house. So for every minute that you go without being defibrillated, you lose 10% chances of not go. And actually it's higher than that. So while we were sitting there waiting, had we had an AED in the house or had.
What about Swanee County side?
Station, this was a donation. This was $1,000 donation.
I don't think you should.
Listen, you're out of order, Leanne,
Those
please.
children are swimming at Hodor Park, and this
Go
is
ahead.
mainly for drowning victims. It's not, to get garden supplies. So it's but things fall under the Good Samaritan law. So you can talk to the attorney about that. But
Sure.
I'm just saying we have $1,000 machine. If nobody wants it, I'll take it.
I think really everybody wants the best case scenario that we can have. And I was even thinking that, you're talking about regular maintenance and upkeep and all. We meet once a month.
Mhm.
And we meet right here.
Yeah, right.
So it's something that the board we could address at any board meetings if we go forward with getting everything approved and done like we need to.
Well, once we speak to the attorney, I'm asking if he says it's all good,
Yes.
that we approve $487.75 to get it into working order, because it needs a new battery and it needs new pads.
So is there, any person a person who's not had any training
Yep, can use it.
could literally walk up to
Yep.
it and
It tells you what to do.
how would I know that somebody's,
Because people around who don't even know have CPR training and they teach you how to use it in CPR.
You ain't gonna shock anybody
The
that.
general public, there's a lot of general public that just.
okay, all right. See, you understand what I'm
It's
saying?
not gonna shock anybody that does not have a shockable.
You have to go through a three-step sequence and you have to have the pads on right.
Okay.
I mean, it's gonna scare the hell out of them.
And also with our liability insurance, I know that the insurance company had ideas about dogs in the park and what that puts us in liability. This maybe could save us some money on our liability insurance since we have it on property. So it might be worthwhile to check with them to see if they say yay or nay.
Well, we just met with the auditor, so, the insurance auditor, so we got a good relationship.
This could be a
there.
feather in our cap here.
Okay, so, any other questions by the board? Anyone else? everyone thinks that's a good idea to go forward?
Sure.
Okay, so, we have a motion, by Bonnie, I think it was. Is that right? So you want to state your motion again?
Yeah, I'd like to, make a motion to approve $487.75 to get the AED up to date, pending the attorney's judgment.
And insurance carrier.
I'll make a second on
We
that.
have a second to Bonnie's motion, so. Any other discussion?
Yeah, that was, I believe that was everything with the 10% discount.
All right, no more questions. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you, Bonnie,
But
for
you'll
that.
be checking with the attorney on that?
I'll be checking with both, yeah,
Okay,
and the
Gotcha.
insurance
gotcha, thank you.
auditor. Okay, Bonnie, anything else?
That's it.
All right, let's see where the agenda is here, let's see where we're at. Okay, just want to mention under old business, Bill, and James and I met with Duke Energy, on the front properties. About a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago? And, he brought, another person with him. They're taking it back up to corporate to look at what they can do, possibly fencing. They definitely gonna be posting signs because now you're noticing that we've got four-wheelers going over the edge or bikes coming over the edge and going down the hill. And we got people walking into the Ishtutney River on the Duke lease property at Highway 27. So what's going to happen is the season's coming in, they were quite aware of what the season was going to bring in, that the crowds and numbers are going to be getting larger. People are going to try to bypass parks and start utilizing that area down below, and they understand the liability of that. So we're hoping, Bill, what did you think, Bill and James, about the comments they were making? They seem to be wanting to find a solution to that, and they have to go through corporate, which is pretty involved, but this is a very high volatile area.
Sounds like they're gonna go with moving ahead on it.
And they've had 2 deaths in this very short area, in probably the last 15 years. They've had 2 deaths, in their leased property that's out front. So,
The people we talk to seem to think it's much cheaper to put up a fence than to fence up, so.
correct.
I seem encouraged.
Yeah, but they've got a lot of logistics to do, with that. So, and, I noticed that, I never did, don't know if you did any research on it, but the old road right of way, which was on the downstream side of the, railroad trestle, actually extends over almost 125 feet towards that first property there. So I'm not sure if that's county property or I don't believe it's Duke property. So whoever that person is gonna have to be involved in the process also, as is DOT, if they decide to fence across. They can either fence across this way or they can fence down the path. So they're gonna be working out logistics on that, bringing some
I
other
think that
stuff in.
one gentleman was gonna talk to those people.
Okay.
The one with the shorter one?
Right.
With Duke, I think.
Okay, so that's our report on the, Duke Energy out front. So you have
Got some
another
old
question?
business.
Okay, go ahead.
We've had a couple cases where people are bringing kayaks and unloading them here at the front. Taking them down here and taking people on, charging people. And, to transport them, even had a little bus they had transported the people this last week and a half ago. They park right out front here and, we know who it is, we know what company it is. And, I don't know, they're running a business out of our parks.
They have a key to the gate.
Yeah, one of the persons lives here, but I asked the lady driving the bus, I said, does he get paid? And she said, yes, he gets paid. I said, okay, so I'll pass it on to the board.
Well, Bill, we've had that discussion, and I think what that's commercial use.
Okay.
And so at the end of the day, it's gonna fall under the same guidelines as the VRBOs, charging people and passing their key out for
Making money on.
making money off of those folks doing that. But if we don't, and we're gonna be discussing this as the committee, and with the attorneys, if we don't, get a grip on it, at the end of the day, anyone could say, well, you know what? Y'all don't do anything about it, so here's the deal. I'm gonna advertise, if you wanna get into the parks, just call me. And, I'll make a key available to you, and you just come use the park whenever you, and it's gonna cost you $10 or $15 a trip. There's no difference.
Right.
So that is what we're gonna have to get resolved. We didn't have this problem before because it wasn't noticeable. It was quiet and
It's
easy.
gonna get busier.
But the problem is we've grown so much that it's being abused. And what's unfair is that property owners bought in here with the idea that these were their parks and they weren't commercialized, and it states that. So we're gonna start digging into that, and we're gonna use all of these, and we're gonna find, the legal counsel to help us find the solution and go forward with it. Yes.
Well, isn't that opening us up to a liability if one of these people that's renting this service through this individual, if they get injured at our park?
All day long.
So do we need to send him a letter, him or her, whoever it is, a letter stating that this needs to cease?
What we'll do is anything that we do, we'll be going through, the attorney, because we just recently had a situation where somebody was running a business and advertising it. People were coming to their property and they were out, doing that. That was one step. I contacted the attorney, we sent a letter, asked them to cease and desist. So we're trying to get our teeth into this thing so we can make sure that we all understand that we're property owners. We all have a vested interest in the property, and it's our property.
Right.
It's not anybody's outside. It's not to be commercialized. So it's gonna be, we're having to play catch up. But
Yeah, it's not fair to people who struggle to pay $175 a year for a key when they live here, and somebody else is making $3,000 off their key.
right, and they're increasing the liability for the people that own, because anytime that we are attacked from a legal standpoint and have to pay money out, other lawyers and so forth, it makes everybody's dues go up. So we've got to do the best job we can identifying what it is and get there and get the job done.
And while we're on this part about like business ventures and all, also we've got to make sure that, this will be under construction for a little bit, but like the A-frame, that when members do reserve it, it cannot be for a money-making venture. They cannot be receiving money,
No.
using our facilities.
Correct. But we've got to address that legally and have our attorney write it up in such a way that it matches with what the intent of the organization is. So, right?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So is there anything else? Yes, Vicki?
Since we have a new sheriff, I was wondering if there would be a time that we could invite him for a town hall meeting. We know we've got problems with speeders. We know we've got problems with four-wheelers. I think there's an ordinance in the state of Florida that under a certain age, they have to be accompanied by an adult or wear a helmet. And I don't think these kids are wearing helmets. I don't think they're practicing any kind of safety.
License.
And we had an
To be honest
accident.
with you, I had a situation the other day
Mhm,
with 11-year-old,
mhm.
had a little girl in the back, and I pulled my truck in such a way to try to stop them, and I got a bird. And they were gone.
Mhm.
So I'm just telling you, this is out of control.
I think
And,
we
you
have
know,
a new
we've had
sheriff and we need to invite him out
we've
here.
had 3 cyclists
Mhm,
killed in the last 4 or 5 weeks in Columbia County.
that's right.
So at the end of the day, this is,
One was out here.
so let me do this. Let me
The fish fry would be a good time.
contact, St. John and contact Wally, and
Mhm.
we should have them both here at the same time, because each of them may have something to offer that.
We have
Right.
invited them to the
What about
fish
the
fry
fish
before
fry?
and given them a free dinner and had them come out and speak to the public, and they can make their, any concerns for safety in the neighborhood aware to them, so.
That would be good, but it would be nice to have them address, the board
True,
as for content,
yes.
so that
What
we
about
can
bringing
get
out
direction.
drug dealers in our subdivision too?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
had
but
the
we
chicken.
tolerate you because we like you.
I know, I try my best to take it quiet about it.
Okay, so we'll do that. We'll invite both of them to the fish fry, but still would like to get both of them here to one of our board meetings.
That would be great.
Okay. Yes, Tom?
I guess I missed the opportunity as we was going through the agenda, but when we start renovating this place,
Yes.
we're probably gonna have to relocate our quarters. And my suggestion is, of course, the only place we got is the, what do you call it?
Pavilion.
Pavilion.
We can get some tubes and do it floating down the river.
Hey,
If we're gonna
smoking a joint.
if we're gonna do the pavilion, we're probably gonna need to get Secret Service. If you can remember those times. But that would be what we probably will need to
We
do.
can't do it in the A-frame?
Huh?
It's not big enough.
Not big enough,
Big
no.
enough.
Okay, so that's,
In there.
thank you for that. We'll address that. That's coming up real soon. So that would be our next meeting, as a matter of fact.
Is that gonna be the next one?
The next meeting.
Is that gonna be the next meeting?
Yeah, but we'll put that out there in early enough time for everybody to see. Okay, so is there anything else, board members, you have under, old business? If not, then I'm gonna ask if there's anyone in the audience that wants to speak to the board. Okay, Jesse?
I was just curious where we were with the cameras in the parks. I know there was some money allocated in some spent, but I didn't know, the last thing I heard was that we were gonna be doing Point Park next, and that's what we're doing.
So where are we on Point Park?
So Point Park, after it flooded pretty good, found out we had to reposition our entire backboard. And sometime in the near future, as things are warming up and everybody's getting over being sick, I already have a guy scheduled to come in with backhoe and start digging the trenches. I say scheduled, he's not actually scheduled though. We know when it's good time, but I got somebody to stand by for that. And most of that equipment is in boxes waiting to be installed. So,
Do you have any kind of a possible idea? Of course, we're not gonna have any more floods this year, you know that.
yeah, we're good for this year. I'm gonna try to get him out here in the next probably month or two.
Okay, because it's gonna get really, yeah, gonna get, especially weekends are gonna get pretty heavy.
Yeah,
that's
also
point-
we're gonna have, internet out there anyway, so either way, we're gonna be waiting on Windstream. I mean, I can put all the equipment in the world out there, but until I get,
Do you know where Windstream is down that lane there?
We're gonna be lucky to get it.
yeah,
We're gonna be lucky to get it because to get full signal, you need a pair. We have a half. And I asked the guy how you get that, and he says you wait for somebody to sell their house or die.
pretty much, yeah. The lines in there and the ground out there has been there for over 50 years. We're still trying to piggyback DSL off of these old copper lines that are old and busted and flooded too many times.
Why don't we go with Starlink?
Is there another solution then?
There's a few other solutions that we are looking at. I'm hesitant about some, like Starlink, but there might be a way to secure it, possibly.
You don't want Elon Musk looking at your stuff?
I think Starlink is one of the best things there is for residential. I don't think it's worth a darn for commercial based on what I've seen so far out of it. And we also have an awful lot of tree cover and everything. And we helped one of the residents here in Three Rivers who had one tree that was preventing them from getting Starlink to work right on their property. And it was just like over in the corner. So it has its place and it's really good for its place, great for its place. I just don't think it's for everything. And it's,
Well, that site has an awful lot of big oak trees that are
It does.
hundreds of years
it
old.
really does.
We're not cutting any of those down.
I mean, and if there was a way to secure it and get it from under the canopy, then yeah, I can look at that as an option, but
Getting my mind.
that's gonna be,
Well,
gonna be
that's,
tricky.
that part, is a part that's violated an awful lot because of, like I said, people coming in,
All hours of the night.
Yeah.
through different properties and whatever that aren't members.
I considered cellular link. Cellular link, I can secure behind lock and key, no tampering, anything else. Speeds obviously aren't as fast, but at the same time, I don't know what's down there.
Okay.
If I get 5G down there, then it's plenty fast, but we'll have to see what we can do.
So can you run a signal test or do you?
Oh yeah, I'll be running test signal test when we put in.
Well,
We'll be
you're-
down there anyway,
So
so
you're saying the next couple months you should be,
yeah, we should have something down at that part.
all right. Yes.
I'll just gonna finish. A lot of the members I've spoken to are really disheartened that y'all are finished cleaning the parks up after those storms. A lot of them still aren't even accessible, fences are ripped down, gates are polluted. So I was wondering maybe if y'all could verify.
You know which gates are down?
Well, it's not knocked down, but the one at Bridge Park is folded, about 20 degrees, 15 degrees.
Works fine.
The fence is all, down in several spots.
Okay.
The gates to access it from the second property that's not ours.
It's a beautiful park. That fence is destroyed too.
And the piles of debris that's just piled up in the parks,
Yeah.
uncut trees, just lots of things. I've just heard people say, hey, are they gonna clean it up still, or would you clean up?
And who are they?
Just members.
Okay. Well, we'll be addressing that this year, sure. Okay, Leanne.
Okay, just a few questions I have, but I didn't get a chance to ask first time. It's like, well, you said that, so you're saying that I'm trying to understand. These deed restrictions in 1990, it says that however property owners association was declared by TREPO evidently claimed they could use an old paragraph out of it. Illegal deed restriction that wasn't being used because of discriminatory reasons. So they claim they could use it. So they made this deed restriction. It says property owners association. Law. I've looked and looked. There's nothing saying that we are a homeowners association. They did make a plan of a property owners association. At that time, that was over 30 years ago. Now, nothing was ever done with that. I was in the board in 97, 98. I said, what's all these files? And I said, oh, they're out.
Did y'all
We don't use them.
Did y'all pay computers and stuff? Was it deed restricted back in the 90s?
In
Did it have deed restrictions and things back in the 90s?
When I bought my property,
Yes.
there was no deed restrictions,
When was that?
in 1988.
Yes, it were.
And what it is, there was no deed restrictions because when I bought my property, I asked, where's the deed restrictions? And they said, they're illegal. We can't give them out.
But they had. I'm asking now.
Here.
Mine in 82.
Here's a copy. The original, but they would give it out because the last one said white only or.
It was in 1991 because I was 16 years old in 91 and I bought a piece of property on my own. And I paid my $25 fee.
There was an 82, I guess, deed restriction. I got one on
He's not just talking to one person.
Sorry, I can't listen to.
Okay, hey, Leanne.
Anyways.
Leanne.
They weren't giving these deed restrictions out, so they told us and you go on.
Leanne.
What's your, I'm just asking, because I don't know, what's your question or what are you trying to?
My
what's your
question
point?
is, I don't understand what's in the law.
2 minutes, timer's over.
New. All this, it's 1990. It said they had the law before 1990, it's not, we're not required to pay and then.
All right, Leanne.
Excuse me, but Shannon is. So.
Leanne.
That means that not everyone's mandated.
Leanne.
So.
I bought my
My
property.
my question is, they say you act like, are you being then forced under HOA regulations? It sounds like that's what they're doing in here, therefore you have to put articles of incorporation for TREPO Inc. You also have to put the bylaws, I think they were maybe 1987, and the amended ones, which they're using now.
What I'm gonna work on
Is that all supposed to be in?
what I'm personally gonna work on is getting every official document
That isn't.
scanned in.
That's what I'm, that's what
And
it's,
that's what Charlie
Charlie's better point. What I'm saying, though, the law says older POAs like us, property owners associations, because that's what it's called in these deed restrictions.
What's the name?
We don't even have to go under that 720, so I don't know why y'all don't just keep your 618 rights. You have to stay corporation.
Leanne, I bought my property in 81. And I bought it in this little A-frame that was right here.
Did you get a deed restriction?
I got full deed restriction. I still have.
You got this one, it says whites only.
Pardon me?
It says white Caucasian race only.
1957.
Yeah.
67.
1957. 57.
Well, it says.
Okay, we're not gonna have a debate on the floor right here.
Okay,
So,
let me finish.
so let me explain to you how that works. That completely is overruled by federal law, civil rights law, it's completely
They were
overruled.
completely illegal.
That would be back then, it would be, but we didn't get ownership from, we did not get ownership. We did not get ownership, Free Real Estate Property Owner
This
Association.
is for a judge,
Until Mr.
and you're right.
What you'll need to do is if you have an argument,
I
Leanne,
don't,
okay,
I
what
just
you,
asked Bonnie if
okay,
they were going under the, having her do HOA 720 law.
Well, so from my understanding, and I'm new at this, so I'm not, I haven't lived here for 50 years. I have, this is my first association I've ever been on. I've only been on it for a month, so I'm very new and I'm learning.
Okay.
But from my understanding, there is no laws that fall under property association in the state of Florida. Everything's recognized as if it's a deed restricted community, it's recognized under a homeowners association.
Okay, so I know that,
So it's semantics, but by what it's being called, it's still the same thing.
until it goes to court. And if I win, it won't be. Because I will be going to court with one thing.
we understand that, so.
But let's write down, this is, here's
Okay,
what
this
I
is your,
need.
I'll give you 2 minutes, this is your last thing, so, okay, go ahead.
This is what I was gonna do last time.
Okay, go ahead, say it.
The deed restrictions were amended, the 1987 deed or bylaws were amended in 1994.
Glenn.
Okay. In 1990, we noticed that the deed restrictions were revised from the old ones that I gave you, Bonnie. So they were revised, and in them, they said we are going to be a property owners association, basically under Freeport Inc. Okay, this is what it declares. Now, we all know that that means they would be going under the Articles of Corporation for Freeport Inc. All right, now, in this bylaw that they amended, if you look in the Articles of Corporation, only the members can amend or rescind bylaws, only the membership. So we need to have a vote of the membership, I'm calling for this, to rescind, it looks like article, property owners in the ranchettes who are not members of the corporation may be permitted to use the recreation areas provided they pay a user's fee. All right, right there. That, from the Articles of Corporation, say members only in these parks, you have to be a property owner of Three Rivers Estates. You let one ranchette subdivision in, you're gonna have every subdivision out there going, hey, we want in too. They get to be in. Now, this here also is intruding upon our rights as property owners to own those parks through the corporation, and so therefore, I want this to be rescinded out of our bylaws, because this is totally in conflict with our Articles of Corporation.
So Leanne, if
I'm
you,
asking for
so
a vote.
Leanne, if you want to file something, if you want to have a lawyer.
No, I'm asking for a vote of our membership, which is the only way that we can rescind the bylaws.
So who are the ranchettes?
Two-thirds vote.
The ranches don't have
neighborhood.
any legal standing to be in here.
They don't.
It's my
They're in the
It-
bylaws.
They do in bylaws.
I
They do in bylaws. They're in the bylaws.
So I actually agree with
How
you.
come they're not, how come they were not allowed to?
They are.
Ranchette?
You're-
Well, there's another piece that's not there.
Oh, it's, the ranchettes are listed in the bylaws.
That's
That's what she's reading. But she's saying the bylaws are not
I need to
legit.
get with you.
She's
I'm
saying,
gonna show you.
she's saying the bylaws aren't.
Okay, so,
Corporation works.
Well, hey, to get the bylaws amended,
2/3 vote of the
2/3 of both the members.
No, here it is, look in there. Look under Article 7, I just gave you.
Hang
Look
on.
under Article
I
7.
can't read and talk at the same time. So there are little things that do need to be fixed here and there. There are no more ranchettes. There are, do they still have access to the parks?
If they pay a membership,
So why were they granted?
Hoder said so. It's in the
No,
bylaws.
Codar was not involved, that was the board.
Okay, she's had her time. She's now had 10 minutes. 20 minutes.
okay, Leanne, we're gonna go ahead and get ready to close our meeting.
Let her read it.
I'm asked, oh, he didn't get his turn to talk.
Vote.
He wanted to speak
You
next.
have to do it. It's in the Articles of Corporation. I'm asking for the members to vote the ranchettes amendment out of these bylaws.
That can't happen tonight.
At
We
the
can't do
spring
that.
picnic. What?
It's not gonna be a member.
We'll take that under
We can
advisement.
call special meetings.
Hey, we'll take that under advisement. We'll ask our attorney proper procedure and we'll move forward with that, Leanne. So, yes, sir. What's your question?
I am calling a special meeting right
Yeah.
I
now.
don't wanna beat a dead horse. Keys were mailed out when?
Wednesday.
Because you've got two guys that made that work usable. I don't have a key for a month and a half. We built the gate and we can't get it. So if I don't get it by this Friday, can I come get keys?
She could probably let you have Terry can get a loaner key.
Okay, definitely great.
and then-
Go for that. Call Glenn.
Call Terry. To be,
Terry,
it's the Trepo number. It's 386.
Wait, wait, wait.
Yeah, you could have gone.
I'm slow, hold on. 386
497
497.
3320.
Okay. You guys were talking something before about the Airbnbs and stuff. The way I read the bylaws, only an owner can have a key. He can't even let guests use it, he has to be with the owner. So how do you deal with these Airbnbs? And they're giving people a key? But they're not supposed to, is that the
We're in
case?
the process of,
I'm trying to understand what you're going with.
yeah, we inherited that problem. And we haven't been able to get to a conclusion on that. We have a committee that's gonna be working on that problem.
But you're working on not letting guests use the key, is that correct?
Correct.
It's already,
Yes, we do
That was
not
possible.
want
that's
people who
correct.
do not live here to have the access.
Even though they rented like an
That's a
Airbnb, they should not.
There's a
Correct.
potential
Yeah.
liability there.
No, that's perfect. I wanted to make sure,
They're not members.
I wanted to make sure I understood it right.
Yeah.
Two other things. What's with the low to Lime Rocket? Bennett Park, or Brennan Park, whatever you wanna call
In the driveway?
it.
It's gonna go, yeah, as soon as the water went down, we had the storms. It's gonna go, it needs some down by that,
My dock's been up, out,
I know.
5 times in the past 3 months.
Okay, we'll address that. Thanks.
Can't go down
What's
there.
next? What's next?
Can't
sir?
not take it down when it's wet, when the now's dried up, so it'll be taken.
That's a big load of lime.
It's going to have.
What's your next
The
question?
last thing I got is, I don't know who put a food bank down at Boat Ramp Park. But I see people that don't live here going there. It's attracting the rats. I don't know if anybody knows it, but Publix stopped donating the food banks. Somebody claimed they got sick, sued Publix, got $2.1 million. So I don't think it's a good idea.
I don't either. I
I mean, I get the,
We'll take that.
I get the gesture.
Yeah.
But it's not a good place for it.
Okay.
Somebody gets cut.
All right. So now we had a chance for everybody to speak. And
I did not get.
we've already had your turn.
I did not, I asked for a special meeting and you have to let the membership have a
We will-
special meeting when they ask.
I will communicate with our attorney. As to the procedure and process. You're finished with it tonight.
Can't be letting people in here from the red.
We have a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. Second. Everybody say aye. Aye.
Who did the motion?
I did.
Tommy
Who
did.
the motion?
James did the second.